And here we are. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to this wonderful evening, this wonderful hour that we are going to spend together to really discover what are the five main ingredients that anyone needs to have in order to be able to reach with certainty, with awareness, with precision, whatever goal they may have. Okay, in other words, to really be able to be the leaders of their own life. So that is the purpose of this evening, again, this hour that we're going to spend together. And I am so honored, I'm so pleased to be here. My name is Angela, and I am in charge. I'm the person in charge of the development of what is Change Your Life Academy in the UK. So that's why I'm here presenting you this wonderful opportunity and going through these very, very fundamental topics, I want to say. So, I want to make a deal with you guys right away, okay? Because I don't want this just to be a monologue, okay, where you just hear me speaking. But, as much as I would like to be in front of you face to face and be able to actually have like an actual conversation, we have fortunately technology that helps us out with that. So I would really I would really like to start to understand, first of all, where you guys are connecting from, because we've got a beautiful chat that we can utilize just to, to warm up this evening, this hour again that we're gonna spend together. If you see me looking up, is because I've got a screen so I can read you guys at all times. So welcome. I see from London, from Glasgow, from Galway. All right. Well, we got two very far places already. Wonderful. Welcome, everybody. Welcome from London again, from Essex, from Zimbabwe, Africa. Oh, wow. We are international tonight. Great. From Bath, from Bournemouth. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Luton, from London again, from Bath again. Well, wonderful. Okay. I like it this way. Okay, I like how we're starting to warm up, to get warmed up. Wonderful. Great. Let's keep up the pace, the rhythm. Okay, wonderful. Again, welcome everybody. And first of all, I would really like to have you guys understand what is the reason why we are here, and thanks to who we are here. We're able to have this wonderful evening together because of him. Filippo Rossi. Who is Filippo Rossi? He is the person who created all that we're going to be covering tonight. He has dedicated his whole life to study anything that is related to the enhancement of what is the human potential, okay, the development of what is the real human potential. He has studied medicine, he has studied mental dynamics, neurolinguistic programming, neuroscience, everything, anything you can think of, to then create an advanced, accelerated learning method that is now called three-dimensional reading, that has already transformed the lives of more than 10,000 children and adults all over the world, basically. Because then in 2019, he has started this project, this educational project that is now also called the Change Your Life Academy, as I mentioned at the beginning, where we have courses for anyone really who is looking to transform their life, to change their life in a way or another. And it is both for young people, for kids and teenagers, and adults, entrepreneurs, professionals, anyone who is really seeking to utilize themselves at best. Let's put it that way. Okay. So we're now operating in 4 countries. We are in Italy, as you can probably get from Filippo's name. He's Italian, and actually all of this is 100% originally made in Italy. I'm Italian myself. And we're now operating also in Spain, in the UK, in France, so in Greece. We are very international now. We got also somebody connecting from Zimbabwe, so absolutely wonderful. Okay, so among these 10,000 people, there was also me. As I was mentioning before, 5 years ago, I had the wonderful opportunity to be able to join, okay, what is now Change Your Life Leadership. And I have to say that sounds cliche maybe, but it did change my life. And the reason why I'm here is because it had such a huge impact on me, both personally and professionally, that I just couldn't ignore it. I'm one of those people that needs to share what they experience if it is something good. And that's the reason why I have decided to now do this, dedicate my life to this. Now, concretely, when I attended it, I was a university student. Okay, I was seeking to really be able to take charge of my life, let's say, because I had so many projects, so many things that I wanted to do. At the same time, I wanted to get this degree, reason why I was in uni. So I was looking for a more efficient method to study, to not having to spend another 3 years of my life in uni. And at the same time, I was looking for concrete tools to be able to pursue all the other goals that I had. I had a bit of an entrepreneurial project on the side. I had a few things going on. And I have to say that Change Your Life Leadership is what really gave me everything in just, it was a whole, okay, it was a whole work that allowed me to really understand how to put everything together and again be in charge of my life. Okay, so again, this evening we are going to cover what the 5 main mistakes and solutions, okay, are to be able to really become the leaders of our own life. Okay, and I have talked too much already. I told you that I want this to be more of a dialogue than a monologue. So um, I really I'm really interested in understanding why you guys decided to be here, to invest this hour of your time to stay here and listen to these words and listen to these topics, because we're going to understand this, that it is fundamental always to have a direction, have a reason why you do things, because every time you have a goal, if you have a goal, then everything is oriented. But if you don't know why you're doing things, then yes, you can have good experiences, but what are you really gonna get out of it? So come on, don't be shy. I know maybe you don't need to write a whole paragraph, just a few words, just to understand also if you're aligned. Come on, come on, come on. I'm curious, and I know I've spoken with some of you already before, but it's really important to see if you're aligned, also because just as an anticipation, this is going to be a webinar where I won't just explain you things, but I will throw at you some provocations, let's say. I will provoke you a bit, because if you want to really be the leader of your life, you need to realize what you truly are. And it's not going to be something just to, something to take lightly, let's say. So just a warning. In the meantime, I can see Parag that said, I signed up because I've been going through a stressful time with my relationship and it's affected my confidence. Well, okay, thank you for sharing, first of all, Parag, and motivation. I'm struggling to focus on job applications and figure out what I really want. I feel like I've kind of lost myself, so I'm hoping this webinar can help me get some clarity and rebuild my confidence. Well, that's deep, first of all, Parag, and thank you for sharing. Now, you've got a lot of awareness for sure, based on what you just shared, and I'm sure that this is going to be inspiring, because you're going to find out a few things that, yeah, I say can be very inspiring. Okay, I want to say that's the right word. Natalie, I need to learn how to be more productive in my job and also my life. I'm looking for something that gives me the tools that I can use in every aspect of my life. Okay, well, Natalie, I can say that you're in the right place then, because that's what we're gonna talk about: tools, concrete tools. So great. Tintin, I'm looking for inspiration. Awesome. Because I really want to know more about me and the program, Gabriel. Awesome. Okay, great. Lizzie, hopefully get some wisdom words, improve my life in general. All right. Okay. Mona, to take positive changes, both personally and professionally. Well, that's what we're going to talk about. So definitely aligned. Philip, I am aiming to retire early, sorry, which will require trying new things. Okay. Okay. So on the lookout for new things. Deepan, I'd like to be able to read more efficiently, process it easily, and retain that information for a longer period of time. So I was curious to learn some tools. Great. And Philip again, because I really need to become more to succeed in my work. Great. Guys, okay, I like it this way. This is the way to go to really understand again if we're aligned, and so far we definitely are. Okay. Now the question becomes though, what has prevented you from achieving all of this until now? What do you think has stopped you? Why aren't you there already? Why aren't you succeeding at your work already? Why aren't you inspired already? What do you think is the main thing that has been the biggest hurdle, the biggest obstacle that hasn't allowed you to achieve this? Because again, we need to know where we're going, but we need to have a clear idea of why we aren't there already. Okay, so feel free to share again, just a few words. Okay, Mona says sometimes lack of knowledge and confidence. Parag, self-doubt and low confidence. Natalie, haven't found the right courses for me or the right tools. Okay, okay, great. Yes, so Philip, so many options and overthinking. Okay. Not these, yeah, people pleasing. That's a characteristic that a lot of people have, unfortunately. When I say unfortunately, because it's not always useful, you know. We should really be the only ones that we want to please at the end of the day. Philip, bad habits. Mona, difficult to say no. So a bit people pleasing maybe as well. Lizzie, procrastination, lack of consistency. Sonsoles, procrastination, doubts, fear of not succeeding. Again, okay. Nathi, Natifa, sorry. Childhood trauma causing low self-esteem and negative self-image. Gabriel, overthinking and laziness. Wonderful combination, I should say. Awesome. Kind of gets always stuck, I want to say, maybe Gabriel. Okay. Okay, guys. Okay, we got more deep and due to constraints, struggling to make reading a habit, and when I do make the time to read, it just becomes a chore. Natifa, triggers. Well, not knowing to overcome triggers. Okay. Well, guys, this is fundamental starting point, and I love how we started it, because now we are going to see together what are the the five main ingredients that truly will allow you to reach any of the goals that you have just shared. We're going to see together what are the capabilities, I want to say, the ingredients is the best word for it, to really be able to achieve any goals that we set for ourselves in any kind of situation. And we kind of started to cover that already a bit, but the very first one is self-awareness, awareness of how you function. What do I mean by this? You know, there's some teachings, okay, that define us humans as a human machine. Okay, and if you don't know how that machine works, how it functions, then it's like, I don't know, having a Ferrari, since I'm Italian, in a garage, but using it like a Beetle, maybe, or just leaving it there. Why? Because you don't know how to get it started. You don't have the fuel to utilize that Ferrari. And so you're just there, stuck. You know that you're worth much more because there's a part of you that knows, you know, that you could do much more. But if you don't get the extra awareness, if you don't start from you and the reason why you find yourself in those situations, you know, the why is a word that is going to come up often during this webinar, because you're going to really need to dig deep into the reason why you still find yourself in that position. And that you can do only by the help of someone that can guide you there. And if you really stop to listen to yourself, to observe yourself, and take a moment like this hour that you're taking for yourself to understand how you truly function. Because I don't know, do some of you have that feeling that you're worth more than what you think you are, that what you not what you think you are, but what you truly are doing right now that you feel like you can achieve more, that you feel you've got some hidden potential somewhere that you don't really know how to bring out? If so, let me know, like drop a yes in the chat or something if you're with me. Holly says yes. Okay, perfect. So I was not the only one. Okay, good. But I guess, okay, great. And, when that awareness of how you function, how your human machine functions, then it allows you to understand that neuroscience helps us, okay, with this, with understanding, getting a hint of what that potential that we feel like we have is. Because you need to know that neuroscience tells us that we've got mainly two parts of our mind. We've got the conscious rational mind, which is the mind that the part of our mind that we've been taught to utilize every time we need to do something. Okay, it is though 7% of our brain capacity, and as you can see here, it is low. It works by comparison. It is analytical, but it is really the only tool that we've been taught how to utilize since we were kids to do anything, really. Okay, reason why, for example, when we were studying in school, for tests, it would take us forever to get ready for it. And a couple of days after, we would forget, because by comparing everything and analyzing everything, after a while you forget, because more than, it is comparing, it is analytical and so on, and it is also limited in the amount of information that can contain. Reason why sometimes you need to create space for some more and needs to forget some other pieces of information. But that's not everything, because what about the remaining 93% of our mind? Well, that is called the deep intuitive mind, and it is in charge of the lateral thinking, the intuitive thought process, creative thought process, everything that you don't really think about, those things that come just in 1 second. And it is able to process millions of stimuli per second and retain information in the long term. But why is that? Because you need to know that the deep intuitive mind records everything that has ever happened inside and outside of us. A practical example to understand what it means. Has it ever happened to you, for example, that you are speaking with a friend, with a relative, maybe about the past, maybe about childhood even, and all of a sudden a memory pops up? It happened to me literally the other day. A memory pops up and you see that picture, that memory so clear in front of your eyes, and you're like, oh my God, how could I have forgotten about that? It was so clear, but a part of you forgot it. Has it ever happened to you? Do you resonate with this? Yes, it happens. Okay, great, perfect. Well, that is called intuitive thought process. That is the reason why the deep intuitive mind records everything. And imagine if we were able to turn that randomic process into an intentional one. That all relies on the awareness of your abilities, on the awareness of how you function. And that is doable if you get first an understanding of how you function. Then, if you don't have it, you have that sensation we're sharing right now, before, of having some hidden potential that you don't know how to bring out. Therefore, you lack confidence because you're not sure of yourself. You're frustrated because that sensation can only give you frustration. You lack self-esteem and you fear failure. I remember some of you before said that they do fear failure. They because they lack the awareness. And that is exactly one of the consequences of this. Then what about the second ingredient? Because once you understand what your starting point is and you truly understand that, then you need to have a clear, precise idea of where you want to go. Where do I want to go? What do I want to achieve in my life? Precisely, concretely. Because if you don't know where you're going, then yes, you may achieve something, but it'll just be by luck. Let's say, for example, I'm in London, central London, okay, and, I want to go out for a restaurant. Well, how many restaurants are there in London? I saw some of you sharing that you are from London, so I'm sure you can confirm that there's hundreds of thousands of restaurants in London. I'm sure some of them are great, and I'm sure some of them are bad. Well, if I don't know exactly what I want to do, if I just say, I want to go to a restaurant tonight, where am I going to end up? What am I looking at? Restaurants in London. I might end up somewhere I like, but with the same probability, I'll end up somewhere I don't like. And if I do achieve something, in this case, with this metaphor, then you'll understand that it'll be just by luck. But that is the reason why we need to have a precise, clear idea of what we want to do. And that question that is often asked to kids, but really, we should never stop asking ourselves, what do you really want to do when you grow up? That is a question that not even adults are able to answer, to get an answer to. And I also know because, some of you before didn't really share the reason why they're here. Therefore, that may be a hint of you not having a clear goal. But that's an issue because if you don't have a clear goal, precise one, then you're going to keep doing things without a purpose. So what's going to come out of it? Maybe something good. I don't know. How can you be sure of that? And are you willing to waste your time trying constantly things that who knows where they're going to bring me? So this is why having a final goal, a precise one, is fundamental. Because if not, if you don't have it, you lack motivation because you don't have anything to look up to. You don't that fuel runs out and just after just a few moments, a few days, it depends. You keep living on autopilot. I spoke with some of you in the previous days, and they did tell me that this is something that they found themselves in, living on autopilot, therefore letting themselves be dragged by life, by the things that happen in life. Therefore, you might end up living someone else's life, because if you don't have the idea of what you want to achieve, therefore you don't choose, you don't know what to choose, you might rely on opinions of other people, but they are them, you are you. And maybe for a moment you may like where they're going, but it's still not going to be your life. You're not living your life. You don't have control over your life if you lack the goal. And then another fundamental ingredient is going to be having a precise action plan. Why? What is an action plan, first of all? It's laying down, okay, of writing down all the actions and having a precise, clear idea of all the actions that you need to take at all times in order to be completely 150% sure that you are going to achieve that goal. So let's pretend we got our starting point. Okay, let's pretend we got our goal, precise one. Well, all the steps in the middle of it are your action plan. And that is going to be fundamental to be a successful person. Again, some of you before shared that they want to succeed in their life, in their job. Well, do you know the actual definition of successful person? Because a successful person is someone who really does what they say. So makes things happen, not says nice things and maybe someday they're going to achieve it. What does it mean? That to be a successful person, you need to have a clear action plan that outlines your whole life, not just your whole year, your whole life. And this is not about being fixated with something, it's not about being overwhelmed, being over, let's say micromanaging, that's the word, micromanaging your life. No, that's about having clarity. That clarity that allows you to not procrastinate anymore. Why? Because if we don't have an action plan, one of the first things that's going to happen is going to be procrastination. And more than one person before shared that they struggle with procrastination. But why is that? Because you don't have a clear idea of what's next. So you're gonna start saying like, okay, yeah, I gotta do that, but I can do it tomorrow because it doesn't really change. And then what? And then tomorrow something else is gonna come up and you're not even gonna do it tomorrow. And who knows when you will actually achieve your goals. And you're going to start feeling insecure because you don't know what the next step is. You're going to have mental fog. This is another thing that I hear from a lot of people, lack of mental clarity. Because if you don't know what the next step is, you know, what's going to happen? Let's pretend, for example, one thing that Filippo says that really struck me is that not having an action plan, not having clear what you need to do next is like being out at sea in the middle of the ocean. You're like a boat, just sailing out there, out at sea. And you may end up somewhere, you know, that you like, somewhere good, somewhere that is aligned with your goals, or you may end up somewhere that you do not like, that is not aligned with you. But what's it going to be up to? It's going to be up only to the waves, to the wind, so nothing you can control because you don't have a clear action plan. You have uncertainty of what is next. Therefore, having a clear idea of what the next steps are is going to be fundamental, the foundations, okay? And then you can decide how to get there. Let's go back to the metaphor, okay, of the car. Let's pretend that we know where we want to go, we got that plan, and we got that Ferrari we talked about before, but do we know how to use it? Because we can go there with that Ferrari driving 200 miles per hour, or we can take the bike, which, sure, eventually we're going to probably end up in the same place, but definitely not in the same time, in the same amount of time. So you have a choice to understand what is the equipment, what are the equipments, what are the tools that you are going to be needing, that you are going to want to use for your life to achieve your goals. And, another example can be, I know that there are some students among you, because again, I've talked to some of you before, and I know that there's people who need to study, okay? But one thing is being able to study 10 pages in an hour for an university exam. Another thing is being able to study 300 pages in an hour. That makes the difference, and it gives you more time to do a lot of other things that can get you to where you want to go. But if you don't have the appropriate tools, if you don't know exactly how to face what you want to do, well, I'm going to try here, try there, maybe try some of this because you saw it on TikTok, on Instagram, but you're going to be dissipating energy constantly, because you try, but are you going to achieve something? Who knows? Again, you're going to procrastinate because if you don't know how to do it, you're going to have some trouble getting started. It may take a long time, as we said before. One thing is studying 10 pages in an hour. Another thing is studying 300 pages in an hour. You're going to lack concentration, focus, attention. Why? Because, again, you're going to be trying some things, but your mind is going to be scattered all over the place. And you're going to struggle with retaining what you need. Again, in the example of a student, but anyone, because let's face it, students are not the only ones who need to study, especially at this day and age. Knowledge is power. Everyone says that. And not having time cannot be an excuse to not be knowledgeable. Because if you are not knowledgeable in 2025, you're just living someone else's life. Let's be honest. You're not living your own life. And then the last fundamental ingredient, actually two ingredients that are actually that fuel that is going to allow you to really get going and really get to the end, follow through on all of those projects that you have, are these two: willpower and attention. Willpower and focus. These are the real tools, the real barriers that allow you to not, fall off track, but that will allow you to stay there. Because how many times has it happened to you that you're starting with a project and you're so motivated, you're ready to go, you're there, you've got this, you feel that fire, but after 3, 4, 5 days, maybe a week, maybe a month, if you've got a lot of motivation, then it starts to slowly fade away. And that's because there's no discipline. And discipline is made of willpower and attention. And some of you may say, well, I've achieved a lot of things, so I think I've got willpower. When I say something, I do it. Well, let me tell you this. Quick exercise. Okay. Now, do it with me. Grab your left hand and put it on your right cheek, like this. It's simple, isn't it? I know this is not crazy. Okay, I'm not going mad, but this is simple, right? Now, I'll tell you to take your left hand and put it on your right cheek in exactly 12 minutes and 48 seconds without setting an alarm, putting a stopwatch, anything. Are you going to do it? Most likely not. And why? Because something is going to happen that is going to take you away, to drift you away from what your goal is. Because we don't have the willpower and that attention. And when that happens, well, there's going to be procrastination again. Another one that's a recurring one. Okay. And as some of you shared before, I see that it's a struggle that a lot of people have as well. Distraction, as we just said, a lot of things will happen and will get in the way. You're going to start things, but leave things halfway through, unfinished, because something is going to grab your attention and take you off track. And you're not going to be satisfied at the end because you're not going to follow through on your projects. Now, these are the 5 main ingredients, okay, that we need in order to be able to be a successful person, to be the leaders of our own life, first of all, which is the foundation to build everything else. Now, for a moment, let's be very, very honest with ourselves. And please share in the chat because this is fundamental. Among all of these, so awareness, goals, action plan, tools, okay, the precise tools, and willpower and attention, which ones of these or which one or ones of these do you feel like you lack the most? Do you feel like is the thing that is really keeping you from achieving all of those beautiful goals that you shared at the beginning, to really take charge of your life? Ola says willpower. Thank you, Ola, for sharing. So Solis, I tend to multitask, plan, and tools. Okay, so action plan and tools. Multitasking is another little, we can say little devil of 2025. We think it's a good thing, but then it really takes you all over the place. So thank you for sharing, Sonsoles. Tintin says, I don't finish what I start. Okay, so again, willpower. Natifa, focus. Okay, we got a lot of people on number 5 then. Okay, great. This is the awareness that is fundamental to have once we get started. Why? Because if you know where you need to work on, then you can actually start taking action to work on that thing. And what's going to happen when you have all of these 5 ingredients? Well, you're going to be able to learn much faster. You're going to be able to learn much more efficiently and really have a memory that's not going to give up on you after a few days of studying something, but it's going to be your best ally. So you're going to remember what are the things that you need. Why? Because you know how your mind functions. Then you're going to be focused. You're going to be concentrated, and you won't let life take you away anymore because you're there on track. You're going to be able to get organized, organize yourself, manage other people if you need to. Really have that optimal organization that will keep you there and not have you fall into that procrastination pitfall again. You're going to have a clear purpose and direction in life. Therefore, you're going to know exactly what that goal is going to be, where your direction is. So everything you'll do it with a purpose. No more wasting time. And you're going to optimize your decisional leadership. You're going to be able to develop that critical thinking. You're going to be able to understand how to really make decisions that will make the difference for your life and for the people that are around you. So now, I have already spoken enough. I told you at the beginning I wanted to make the deal, and I really, really appreciate you guys keeping up in the chat because I do read you. And now, though, I would really like to leave some space to someone who has done the experience as well and is now here tonight. I'm really happy that he was able to make it. He is a fellow Italian, as you may see from his name, and you may hear from his accent soon, but he is a borrowed UK, in the UK, actually in Ireland. And he decided to spend this hour with us to share his wonderful experience as well. So Alessandro, here you are. Okay, here you are. Perfect. So can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yes. Do you
Yes,
hear me?
wonderful. So tell us, yes, we can hear you. How are you doing tonight, first of all?
Okay, but first of all, thank you, Angela, for this. Good evening, everybody. I'm Italian, I'm Alessandro. I relocated to Ireland, specifically to Galway 4 years ago, looking for a new experience, work experience, professional experience, etc. So can you imagine? I live a long while in Italy. I'm in my mid-30s, so relocating was a big challenge for me. And you have to change not just the language you're speaking, but also the habit, the place, etc., everything. So you are letting yourself into a store, of course. You need to be able to not just develop a plan, but follow the plan, organize things. I felt like a bit overwhelming, this new experience with also a new career I was trying to develop. You can easily find myself on LinkedIn. I would be happy to connect with you. I'm working. I'm a sales rep for a software company, an American software company. So I'm speaking a lot with people, and I need to be able to manage not just multiple tasks, but multiple relationship, and every customer has a different need. So again, I felt myself like a bit overwhelmed, and I said, okay, I need to find a way, not just to find a tool, uh, of course, starting to use this tool, but find an organized way to better understand myself, to listen to myself, because I was feeling I was neglecting myself. So like my body was giving me signals and I was not listening to it because no, I need to be focused. I want to be a good professional. I want to be able to do this new job, to be at the top. And little by little, I was not able to manage all the tasks. Then suddenly, since I was looking and looking and looking, I found this great opportunity I did in London almost 2 years ago now. What I love the most is the practical approach, but also the effect it has on my life. So don't imagine a typical course where you go there and after a few days you might have forget everything. If you really want to have that positive impact on your life that you at least based on what your comment, what I see, you're really looking for, this is the a perfect experience because it's not giving you the opportunity to get knowledge on how we work, for example, and the tools, practical tools to organize ourselves, to develop a plan, to organize our task. But then, step by step, there's a real support behind. There's a real support I used a lot in order to be able to implement the plan. I was finally doing it. And I was able to organize my things. So instead of feeling overwhelmed by everything that was I was trying to achieve so hard, step by step it became a plan. Step by step it became a set of tasks I was able to finally do with not that stress impact on my body, on myself that I was feeling at the beginning. Personally, it was a pivot point in my life that course. So I can clearly picture after 2 years myself before and after. Again, um, mostly, I must say, because I had the support after the course to let me be able to develop the knowledge I got from the course and be able to step by step change, have a real positive impact in my life. So that's why I'm here, and you see me smiling because and that's the real effect that it is having in me.
Well, thank you so much for your words, first of all. Now, you say that you're a sales rep, so you need to speak with a lot of people, to interact with a lot of people every day. So, since every time I speak with someone, yes, they want to impact their life, but also the life of others. And I guess that having so much to do with other people, how has that changed for you? How has that helped you with, and how?
Well, let's say from the professional point of view, the difference as a salesperson, you cannot sell anything if the other person is not really interested in. So I started to seriously listen to the other person. Well, it's a B2B business, so a business to business. I'm talking with the other companies, so it's a very technical and professional, blah blah blah. It's a software, but again, there's still a person. I'm still talking with a person, so I need to really understand what's going on from their side in their company, the reason behind their need to fix this specific thing. And it might be possible that the software is not what they really need to fix the situation. So this helped me to better develop the relationship with my customer in this case, but also with my colleagues, understanding better that I'm part of a chain, that my approach can have an impact on the people after me, my colleagues, direct colleagues, and not my customers. And try to have a broader overview, not just to do my small little task, but to have a broader overview of the full process, for example. Um, Again, because I was able to understand better the full situation, and also to help the customer. It happened so far. It happened many times to help the customer to really develop their plan. To adopt, for example, this software in this case, to put this into their daily activities as a true tool that can have an impact on their business. So Cinzia, to just to give an answer to Cinzia, because I see in the chat, how long did it take to see your transformation? Um, the effect, let's say, external evidences, let's say, of the transformation, I started to seriously realizing it from the feedbacks I was receiving from my colleagues, for example, and then from the fact that also the relationship with the customers was changing. I'm not always with the same customers. I might change. Is very intense as an activity. So I must say that I see since I pushed myself to apply this from the very beginning. After a few months, I was little by little receiving these feedbacks. And now it's just a part of me, or better, it's me. That this approach has become the new me. So I'm not even trying to think about it. It's just natural, and that's what I like the most.
Thank you. Now, thank you. And if you've got any questions for Alessandro, I'm sure I mean, he would be happy to answer. So thank you, Cinzia, for getting started. But if you've got any more, just feel free to type in the chat. Okay. One very last question that I want to ask you is that because I know you a little bit, I got to know you, and I know that you are someone who studies quite a lot. And one of the main tools, let's say, is the renowned three-dimensional reading. So in your case specifically, not being directly a student, but being a professional, how has that helped you? And yeah, how have you used it? What is your experience with the 3D reading, especially?
Okay, yeah, yes, I got you. So again, just to give you an example, every customer is different. So we need to be ready to talk with a customer. And most of the time, we don't have that much time. I mean, we are talking about 5 to 10 minutes. So how could you know the story from for the customer just by reading the documentation, for example, and having a look at the website and trying to connect all the information? At the beginning of my experience before doing the course, this was a very time-consuming activity. It took me a lot of time before getting ready for the call. Now, the impact of, let's say, managing all the information that I need to be focused before getting the call is requiring way less time from my side. And this together with the fact that it's a technical software, it's technical stuff. So with more than 110 different purposes. Every purpose, every tool of the software is different. So I needed to study all the documentation to be able to speak the language of the customer. I'm not an engineer. I studied economics, just to give you an idea. But I'm talking with the engineers all the time, and it requires a bit of understanding of what they are doing and what they're trying to achieve. And I applied the method to be familiar, to get to know, to get into details with, for example, the product I'm selling. That again is applied in every kind of industry, and at the same time to understand way easier in a way easier way and also faster the customer, what they do and what they might need.
Absolutely. Thank you. If if you want to answer Tintin's question real quick.
Yes. What technique do you use to get over disappointment from colleagues, customers, and life? Well, I would like to ask to you, what do you mean with disappointment? It seems to be like not aligned with what is your expectation, maybe. Um, I don't have a technique. I don't know if there is a technique to manage everything. My suggestion would be try to again to do what Angela was suggesting. So try to make your plan. Try to understand, for example, why you feel disappointed. What is making you disappointed? Can you do a step back? Can you put yourself in the shoes of your colleague, your customer? Try to understand what is their point of view, because maybe it's just a point of view. The disappointment you are feeling is not that real. For example, this is another thing that I got from the course, putting myself in someone else's shoes for real, not just because I I want to do it. And then I see Parag. Wow, a lot of questions. How do you manage the stress of having a deadline to finish something while dealing with family problems at the same time? Oh, well, Parag, again, I would like to go back to what Angela was saying. So making a plan and follow the plan, making a plan, follow the plan. That's the thing that could reduce the stress. So just to give you an idea, again, with my professional experience, I changed my position last year, but for more than 2 years and a half, I was managing renewals as mainly for one country, and this country was like, to give you an idea, 80% of the business was from September to December. So you have, like, in only 3 months, you have to complete tasks and to manage the stuff for without an impact of the full year. So in this case, making the plan and try to be very active and following the plan helped me a lot. And going back to um, uh, Natifa, how do you deal with the uncertainty? I would like to understand what you mean again with uncertainty. I would be happy to give you an answer in person. It's a difficult question. What do you mean with uncertainty? What is the feeling you are having. Where in in which area of your life do you feel uncertainty? Because it could be a lot of different things. The simple thing, Natifa, could be focused on on the things in your life where you can really have an impact. So, for example, listening to news, and most of the time has a kind of negative impact on us because it's always talking about something, most of the time negatively, and you might not be able to digest it, because what can you do if something happened at the other side of the world? So, but what can you do, for example, to be ready for tomorrow morning, not to rush to go to work, not to rush to prepare your stuff, but to get enough time. So maybe I should, for example, plan my alarm 5 minutes earlier. I think like this. Um,
I think, sorry,
yeah, Sanja, there are a lot of
something.
questions. I would be happy to
Yeah,
keep
no,
answering, but
it's
if you
wonderful. It's wonderful. First of all, I just want to say that I think a lot of these questions, like the answers to the questions, if you agree with me, can be summarized in knowing how you truly function, that self-awareness. That's why you keep going back on, like, what do you mean when you say, you feel uncertainty? Because what are you uncertain of, So going back to how do I function really? Correct me if I'm wrong, if we can bring it kind of down to that. What do you
yes,
think?
of course. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Knowing that, for example, I was feeling upset because something specific happened, and then realizing that this was just, let's say, having a past experience when I was a kid, for example.
Yeah.
And so, oh, I haven't thought about it. I thought it was my colleague doing this and that instead and then realizing that the single thing that was making me upset was nothing. The real reason was the me as a kid having that experience and having this memory. When you realized it, you start laughing. At least that's my my approach. I said, "Oh, wow, I have no control of my life."
Exactly, exactly. But that's a good realization that you need to have. And again, I want to thank you so much, Alessandro, for all of your words, because I mean, this can be an actual concrete, example, living proof, I want to say, of everything that we've been talking about, all those 5 ingredients, and being able to, first of all, start being the leader of your own life, taking charge of your life, right? So again, thank you so much. And we gotta keep going because we gotta be practical as well. I see a lot of practical questions, and I am actually going to be answering a lot of your guys' questions soon, as we like when we step on the second part of this meeting. So again, a huge hug, Alessandra, and thank you for your availability this evening. So now, a very, very important moment has come. Okay, an important moment for all of you. Why? Because right now there's a question mark because you need to make a choice. Because all that we've said are great things. At the same time, to be able to achieve even just one of these ingredients, you need to step out of your comfort zone. You need to be brave enough to start understanding what you truly are, as Alessandro just said, taking on the responsibility of your change and not putting it on others. This is not what your colleague does, but it's how you live it. And I know I've provoked you a bit with some of the questions. And if now you feel like you cannot keep going anymore, if you feel like you're not ready to really face who you truly are and take on the responsibility for your life, then please, please log off. Like, leave this meeting, because what we're going to hear is not something that is for you. because it's not easy to really start being the leader of your own life. But if you're ready to step out of that comfort zone, if you're ready to stop, truly take a look of your life and be ready to take action to really change it, then you're in the right place, because these 5 ingredients, you can work on them yourself and find your own way. And if you find it, good luck. Okay, truly, from the bottom of my heart, good luck with that, because I really wish everybody the best. Okay, at the same time, if you want to, there's a way. Right now, there's a way that we can explore together to be able to develop all of those 5 ingredients together. And what is this way? This way is Change Your Life Leadership. Change Your Life Leadership is the program, okay, that teaches you, that has the purpose of truly allowing you to be in charge of your life, to become the leader of your life and develop all those 5 ingredients we have just talked about. And how does it work? Well, first of all, it starts with a 3-day of in-person program. And what are we going to cover in those 3 days? Well, first of all, we're going to see together how we really function. Okay, that self-awareness is going to be the foundation of the days we're going to spend together. And it's going to be intensive. 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, a whole weekend just for you, from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Intense. Okay, we said it before. You cannot afford to waste time, to waste your time. It's the only thing you cannot afford to lose, because it's going to be it is the actual only resource, true resource, that you cannot get back once you've lost it, once you've wasted it. So we're going to work a lot. We're going to work together at all times, even during lunch, because that can be turned into a moment of learning, maybe not in a setting so professional as a classroom, but that can also be a learning moment. So we want to make the most out of those days we have together. And if you're one of those people that they cannot wait for a training to start, to finish, because they want to go to rest, they want to have fun in the evening, I don't know, well, let me tell you right away, this is not the program for you, because for those 3 days we're going to work with the capital W. Okay, what are we going to cover? We're going to cover all that we've talked about. So the practical tools to be able to achieve those 5 ingredients. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the 3-dimensional reading, that accelerated learning method that allows you to use your deep intuitive mind to learn, to be able to read those 300 pages in an hour, not the rational mind. So we're going to start working on the knowledge on how we function and get that tool to be able to utilize our mind, first of all, at best. We're going to work with the meditation of presence, which is the real tool that allows you, with just a maximum of 21 minutes a day, to develop that willpower, to develop that attention that will keep you there on track and kill procrastination for good. We're going to cover the Enneagram for organization, time, and goal management, a beautiful tool that is actually has been taught forever, really, because ancient kings used to teach it to their to the people who had to manage like wars. Sorry if I'm not getting the empires. Okay, and it is an essential tool that will allow you to follow through, to not leave things unfinished, but to really follow through on every task that you're going to set for yourself, any goal that you're going to set for yourself. Then we're going to see the train of success. The train of success is that set of scientific tools that is going to allow you to build the perfect action plan that will allow you to be there, have clear in front of you all the steps that you're going to need to take and when you're going to need to take them. Everything is going to be clear, that famous action plan that is going to get you where you want to go. And also, we're going to cover the Flow Star. What is the Flow Star? It is that tool that is going to allow you to understand, first of all the responsibilities you have in your life, how to prioritize what is actually a priority and what is just overwhelming, and not actually a priority, so that you can get clarity, okay, on everything that you need to handle and understand how to juggle all the hats that you need to wear in everyday life to be sure that everything is clear. I know I'm repeating this word hundreds of times, but it is really the key word. Okay. And so that everything is set. Okay. And overwhelming, what is overwhelm? You're not even going to know what that word means, because if you've got everything clear, then you can go everywhere. You can do anything. And those 3 days are going to be intensive, yes, but that's not going to be it. That's not going to be the only thing. Because once you get home, as Alessandro mentioned before, you're going to have unlimited support. First of all, with a training portal and an app that we have built ourselves to upload every single resource that you're going to need, every kind of material. You're going to be guided step by step. And why? Because yes, those 3 days are going to be intensive. We're going to work a lot. We need to, um, to sum up, let's say, a lot of things, okay, in just one weekend, which will be intensive. At the same time, in order to really, really make a lasting change in your life, you need to practice. Because we've tried, all right, we've tried, but we cannot perform miracles yet. We're working on it, but as of now, not possible. So you're going to need to practice. And what we'll ask you is to dedicate about half an hour a day for the following 4 weeks of that long weekend. And that is going to be essential to be able to really master all of the tools that you are going to be learning during these 3 days. And again, you won't be alone. You will have the exclusive application, all of the materials, all the resources, and everything you may need. And this is not going to last only for the 4 weeks. Why? Because then you're going to have one-to-one mentorship support, one-to-one unlimited mentorship support. Why? Because you may need something, another person may need something. I see here Parag has some goals. I'm sure that Sanjita has other goals. Sonsoles, Ola, Tintin, you all have different goals, right? So you may need to get some tailored advice, and we don't want you to leave you alone, ever. That's why you're going to have the possibility to reach out to your mentor anytime you need to. Any kind of questions you may have, we are here. And we are not going to give up on you if you don't give up on us. If you don't give up on yourself, we're always going to be there for you. All right? That's the promise that we can make, even in years from now. That's what we're here for, to get you to where you want to go. So now we heard Alessandro, you heard a bit of my story, but really there's thousands of testimonials, reviews, anything from participants. So after this, I suggest you go and take a look at it, because those are success stories. And one of them may be you, I don't know, a few months from now, if you decide to really do something for your life, and you can be a successful story. Now, where are we? We're going to be in Stratford, London, so in the heart of the UK, we can say, at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. This is where we're going to spend those beautiful 3 days together. And the available dates that we have are going to be in November, from the 21st to the 23rd of November, which we still have just 2 seats, okay? So not that much space left. And then we've got 6th to the 8th of March, where we have still 8 spaces available. Why do you see a limited amount of spaces? Because we're not interested in working with hundreds of people. We want to work with you. We work on the person, with the person. You're going to bring your project, your goals, and we're going to work with you. Okay, so we don't want hundreds of people, but we have a very limited number of people that can attend for this reason, because we don't want you to have a question and not be able to get your answer. Okay. Now, what is the final investment? Of course, we couldn't ask you for what Filippo invested in himself to be able to get all of this knowledge, because we would be literally talking about hundreds of thousands of pounds. We couldn't ask you for 10, 20 thousands of pounds, even though I must say all of this is worth it, because if you go and take a course for every single ingredient we've talked about, it will probably sum up to much more than that. And you need to know that, as I mentioned at the beginning, we are working in different countries. We started out in Italy. Quite a few years now, we've been working in Spain. And the final investment for these two countries, so in Italy and in Spain, at the moment is £3,500, everything included. But since we can say we started not so long ago in the UK, and there's still a great possibility to achieve, to get all of this for a very, very special offer, which is £2,500. Now, this, since you've decided to really dedicate this evening to invest this hour, this time on yourselves right now, there's the possibility to get even a lower promotion, a very, very special promotion that is going to be available until Monday, which is £2,000 for, again, everything we've talked about, instead of the 3,500, which would be the final price of what is Change Your Life Leadership, the final investment. Now, what does this cover, as we said? Actually, there's the possibility, okay, right now to get ready, okay, to step up, to take action, really. And I know that my colleagues Sue and Sarah is going to type in the chat, to put in the chat the link to get started right away. If what you heard resonated with you, there's a possibility with a smaller deposit, okay, 500 as you see here, to get all that we've talked about, okay, either for November or for March. You can find it in the chat. Thank you, Sarah. And this will get you access to everything we've talked about. That means you're enrolled. You've got your space reserved, and you've got a special bonus that we're going to see real soon together. And then the balance can be paid 3 weeks before the program. Now, there's the possibility of installments, as you see here. Sarah also put another very important link in the chat, which is the possibility to book a free assessment call. Because if you've got any questions, if you want to discuss something over the phone, we can still look at it together. Book the call, because we are here, and this is the possibility right now. Now, just to recap, what is the program about? The program is, first of all, going to get started with the foundation. So understanding what the human machine is, how we function, and how we can turn that Ferrari into an actual Ferrari, how to start using it, what that entails. Okay, then we're going to do the 3-dimensional reading. So get that accelerated learning method, understand how to utilize also our deep intuitive mind, and not just stick to the old rational mind that, yes, it's useful for a lot of things, but we've got something better. Let's just say that. We're going to see the law of positioning, which is what actually Alessandro mentioned before, the capability, the possibility to understand how to relate with every single person at every single moment of your life, because we always have a certain positionment. So that's another thing we're going to cover. We're going to see how to create the best relationships. There's going to be the flow star, as we covered before, understanding how to get clarity on all responsibilities, how to check that everything is taken care of, something fundamental to really get rid of that overwhelming feeling for good. The meditation of presence is going to be another tool that we're going to cover. We're going to do it together, along with other advanced concentration and attention techniques. Then we're going to cover the Enneagram for organization and time management, as we saw before, that tool that is going to allow you to complete all of those tasks, not leave things unfinished or leave them halfway through. And then the train of success, the set of tools to really be able to have that optimal action plan, to know what to do at all times. This is the program. As you understand, those 3 days are going to be intensive again. And this is not a joke. This is something that is called Change Your Life for a reason. And it's called leadership for a reason. Because in order to be the leader of your own life, in order to take charge of your own life, something needs to change. Otherwise, I don't think you'd be here, even connecting with us, if you weren't looking for something. So this is the possibility. After the 3 days, as we said before, you're going to get your workbook, you're going to get your notebooks, everything, all the material uploaded in the training portal online, on the app, 1 Year training app, everything at your disposal to be able to turn everything you have learned into a habit and bring it into your daily life. And that unlimited one-to-one personalized mentorship that is going to be something that is never going to expire. Never. Because we, again, are here for you anytime you need us. So this, here we got to the very special bonus that actually Filippo granted us a great possibility, okay, because he has spent more than 6 months building these web classes, which are literal master classes that last 30 minutes each with, as you can see here, how to, that is the motto, okay, how to. So you have everything you need to know to be able to achieve all of those topics, because every single web class, as you can see here, there's 20 of them, is going to cover a different topic. In every single web class, there's going to be a case study. In every single web class, there's going to be practical exercises, practical methods that you're going to be able to apply in your own life. And you can get all of this right now. You can get access to all of this for those 20 web classes if you decide to take your first step tonight, to book your space at one of our classes, either the November or the March one, depends on how badly, how urgently you want this change for yourself. And this is going to be a gift that, again, Filippo has granted us. And trust me that I've followed every single one of them, and they're wonderful. Just these alone, just imagine that this package by itself, it costs £800 at the moment. Therefore, with your £500, you can get your seat reserved. You can have access to this for 2 months, as it says here. And we're going to also have the coaching call, okay, the assessment call together to be able to get to know each other and really understand how to make the most out of those 3 days together, okay? So this is what I had to tell you, okay? Now, if you still have some doubts, book your call. Again, Sarah has sent some, like the link to do so. And one last thing that I really want to tell you guys is that if you are looking for actual change, if anything that you have heard tonight resonated with you and made you say, okay, I might need to do something with my life, well, just know that what you're going to do is going to be totally, completely up to you. Because one thing that Filippo tells us and repeats every single time, every single day, is that you are the only responsible one for your whole entire life. So if you really feel ready to step out of that comfort zone, you're ready to take on the responsibility of your life, then this can be a way to do so. If not, if you are not ready to do so, then no problem. But don't complain if you're going to find yourself stuck in the same place, because we're filled with people who keep complaining but don't do anything about their situation. And when you find yourself in front of an opportunity like this, and I'm telling you these words just because I've lived them. I've lived this experience and I know what it is. And I've seen thousands of people transforming thanks to this, then you cannot ignore it. Therefore, really, it's going to be up to you what your future is going to be like. I think I've done my what I had to do. Now, if you've got any questions, feel free to type it in the chat, or even better, book the call. Or if you're ready, book the space. Book your space. Make sure that your seat is there with written your name on it to really start changing your life and start being the leader of your own life. I don't see any questions. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sonsoles. Thank you, everybody, for dedicating this hour to yourselves. So I really, 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 really hope to see you all real soon, either through a screen or even better in person in London. Thank you, Cinzia, and thank you, everybody. I wish you all a great, great evening. I'll wait for you, Sonsoles, then. Awesome. Have a great evening, everybody. A big, warm hug, and see you soon. Bye-bye.